And we're coming to you live from the Bill Ford Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network. And wherever you are in the free Odyssey app. Good Tuesday morning. Hope you had a fun, long weekend. The first summer weekend, unofficial summer weekend of the year. When we left on Friday from DJ's, the Rangers were down 1-0 to the Florida Panthers. When we come back, they are up 2-1 on the Florida Panthers with a Game 4 tonight. And this has been another one of those Igor showcases as he is really bailing this team out, as they have been at times looking like the inferior team, but still come out victorious in these games. We got some baseball to get to, a lot of stories, a lot of stuff happened over the weekend. And we got a new phone number, apparently. So I guess this was a thing on Friday, because when I was driving home, my 3-hour drive, listening to BT and Sal, I heard them talk about the new phone number. I didn't get an email on this until this morning. I heard Al say 888-808-1019. It's the new phone number. Welcome to the future. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, G. We also have some new monitors here, so I'm pretty pumped up about that. But somebody, old school. This is really old school. Somebody just basically taped up the new phone number all around the newsroom.
Yeah.
It's taped up on the walls. It's taped up in here. This is like old school, something that Mark Chernoff would have done.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, who do you think did this?
Probably either Ryan or Dave Marinick. That's what I would think. Probably Ryan. I don't know. Chernoff would have written it on Sharpie on our foreheads, each of our foreheads.
Yes.
So we looked at each other. We would know what to say. Probably Ryan, I would imagine.
It is a big thing for sure. There's no question about that. After all those years having that one number that I didn't remember, and I'm not going to remember this number either.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's plastered all over the newsroom is amazing. Al, you should probably get some photos of that and put it out on your social media so people can see exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so from 718-937-6666 to 877-337-6666 to now 888-808-1019.
Yeah, whatever. That's your responsibility.
Yes,
so
it is.
I'll leave that to you. My responsibility is to, echo exactly your sentiments about the Rangers. When we left Belmar on Friday morning, I had like a little bit of butterflies in my stomach, worrying about the way the game was going to play out Friday night. And Friday night, after that game was over, you looked at the statistics going into Game 3. You're saying, okay, these teams are evenly matched. Every single statistic was within one of each other or tied, and all the major statistics, told you that these teams are going to be. That this series is going to be tight. And like I said, you got to buckle up because this is probably going to be a long series, and I still feel that way. Yesterday, I have been on the other side of this as a Ranger fan, watching my team dominate, and watching a goaltender basically frustrating us, and we couldn't score goals, and we'd lose games where we dominated the opposing team. In this particular game, Game 3, we were dominated. And if you are a true NHL fan and you watch hockey and you appreciate the difficulties of it, you understand that the forecheck that the Florida Panthers are putting on the Rangers is having is basically leaving a mark, if you will. And every time one of these guys, defensemen underneath the red line there, get the puck on his stick, he's getting slammed. And it's forcing mistakes. Like Keandre Miller gets the puck twice behind the net after a clean face-off win and has no business throwing the puck where he throws it to, and both of those turnovers end up in goals. And I would tell you that the defense for the Rangers, because, number one, Adam Fox is compromised. There's no way he can stay with Alexander Barkov behind below the nets and below the dots and behind the net, I should say. He is compromised, and you can tell that he's compromised. And we're all assuming it's a knee injury. I don't know exactly what it is, but he is not the same skater that he has been when he is totally healthy. So I admire the fact that, much like Aaron Ekblad last year with a broken foot, there are guys out there that are playing hurt because it means so much to them, and he's one of them. And you could just see it, that he's half the player that he normally is. So there's something wrong with him, and I'm not really sure what it is. But Keandre Miller had two brain locks where he throws the puck up the boards. It stays in. It's in the net. He throws the puck, tries to throw the puck up against the boards again, and it gets knocked down by Sam Reinhart, and he then ends up putting it back in the net. And by the way, Igor Shesterkin at the end of regulation makes a game-saving save. Unbelievable. Right at the end of regulation. And then to start overtime, Florida comes out with a 2-on-1, and Barkov has another shot, and Igor makes another save.
I mean, he has been absolutely spectacular when they've needed him the most. I mean, I feel like this is a trend with Rangers goalies when you have successful seasons. And, I mean, I know the age-old adage is, hot goaltender, who's got the hot goaltender, whatever. But, there were times that you felt like Henrik was out there on an island and carrying the team to the Cup final in the loss to the Kings. And it almost feels like that now, that the star players on the Rangers, Mika and Panarin, especially Panarin, they have done everything to sort of suffocate him and make sure that he doesn't take over offensively, have not done much. And here's Igor, the star that he is, doing everything possible to win these games. If he wasn't a 10 out of 10, the Rangers would be down 3-0 in the series.
I would agree with that. I would also say that one of the reasons that Panarin and Zibanejad can't get going, it seems like Florida knows one of the best things that they do other than just shoot the puck is they pass the puck. And they are incredible passers of the puck. And there's certain things that they do that Florida is obviously zeroed in on. ESPN would do themselves a favor if they would educate people as to why Panarin's having a hell of a time. He's got very little room. Every time he gets the puck, there's somebody immediately on him. And they're trying to get him, he tries to hold on to the puck, and then they steal the puck, and it's frustrating for him, and you can see that he's frustrated. But because he is getting all that attention, a guy by the name of Alexei Lafreniere now all of a sudden is finding some open ice.
Yeah.
And there have been a couple plays where the defense has actually handled the pressure, the forecheck. They've gotten rid of the puck. They've gotten it out of the zone, and a couple great passes. One by Vincent Trocheck to Lafreniere in that first goal, which was unbelievable. And then the second goal, he comes in, and again, he goes through three defenders and makes an incredible goal as well. So he is benefiting from, I think, all the attention that Panarin is drawing to him. And when you watch Mika, Mika's getting handled by Barkov. Barkov is a top-end center in the league. He is a 200-foot player, much like Mika is. I told you this at the beginning of this round of playoffs. And to me, Barkov is just outplaying Mika. But when Mika does get the puck, watch how many guys are around him. There was one point in time, there were three guys around him. He's in the offensive zone, and he really has nowhere to go with the puck. He's getting his stick whacked. He's getting his legs slashed. I mean, they're all over him. So, those guys have got to figure out how to find some open ice. It's easier said than done, I can tell you that, especially with the relentless pressure that Florida is putting on the Rangers. But again, when you have defensive players that are making mistakes, they started the game. Braden Schneider makes just a bonehead pass right up the middle of the ice, and it goes right to a Florida Panther. And next thing you know, it's a 2-on-1 back against Igor, and he's got to make a great save like a minute into the game.
Yeah.
So that's ultimately where the Rangers failed. I thought yesterday. I mean, I'm on Sunday. That's where they really, or Sunday, you're right. That's where they really failed. But at the end of the day, this team is resilient, and they don't get down by giving up 2 goals in the third period again and playing passive and allowing Florida to get back in there. But the fact that they won that game is, I think it's payback for all the torment and torture that I've been through in my entire Ranger career.
Yeah, well, maybe.
As a fan.
And if they end up winning the series and winning the Stanley Cup, then yes, you can for sure say that. But yes, this was one of those. It made you think like, wow, maybe this is it. Maybe everything is aligning for the Rangers for them to win that game in the way that they did. And that Wenberg deflection, the goal in overtime, I mean, that takes so much skill to be able to do that. To have that was not luck, in my opinion. That was skill and putting himself in that position. The puck flying at him, getting it off the shaft of the stick in that manner to deflect it past Bobrovsky. I mean, that just incredible high-end skill.
Well, the amazing thing is somehow the puck squirts out to Lindgren at the point, and then Wenberg goes right to the front of the net, and there's a lapse in defense by Florida. because he's there by himself.
Mm-hmm.
And Florida looks at that and says, that's a huge mistake on our part. Much like the Rangers could say, how many times are we going to let a Florida Panther go behind the net and get below the defense and go right to Igor without anybody getting in front of him? I mean, that's probably, in this particular game, it probably happened about 5 times, and 2 of them were goals.
Yeah.
So the defense of the Rangers, and on top of all of this, 12 minutes of penalties that they took, and they only had 2 power plays themselves. And if you would have told me that Florida was going to win the special teams battle, which they did on Sunday, and you were going to tell me that the Rangers were going to win the 5-on-5 battle when it came to scoring goals, I'd say that's crazy. It's going to be the other way around.
Yeah, that's the Stanley Cup playoffs, isn't it?
And the Rangers
Susan?
Right, and the Rangers get a shorthanded goal on top of it.
Sure, absolutely. All right, let's talk about the Jacob Trouba elbow on Evan Rodriguez. The worst part about this is, I mean, if you haven't seen it, CBS Sports Network, I'm sure we'll put it out there from Sunday. The worst part about it is, I mean, he clearly lifts his elbow up into the air with an intent to hit around the head area. Now, I don't believe that he caught him, flush in the head, but really the intent was there. He ended up getting the maximum fine for that hit, and this is one of those things that you're thinking, man, like he's taken some really bad penalties, and this was, you want to talk about lapse in judgment in that situation. I mean, that could have hurt them a lot more than it ended up hurting.
Right. Well, he's physical for sure, and I know one thing, that if he did that to a Ranger and he was on the opposing team, I'd be screaming, holy hell.
Well, that's fair of you. You don't normally say that.
But I would be. I'd be screaming, because I think while he's a very physical player, he's their captain, he's their presence when it comes to dealing with a lot of stuff. He's also not played well since he's come back from his injury. He's had some issues. Now, I will say that he makes a great pass on the Barclay Goodrow overtime winner that ends up, on Vincent Trocheck's stick. If you go back and you watch that particular play, I mean, he's standing there, and as he's getting ready to flip the puck out of the zone, Barclay Goodrow catches it with his stick and throws it to Trocheck, and Trocheck back to Barclay Goodrow, and he scores the overtime. If you watch what Trouba has to deal with, he's got a guy coming right at him. And it reminds me of a quarterback standing in a pocket. You got to stand in there. You're going to get hit, and you still got to throw the ball, and it's got to be accurate, and it's got to be on time. And Jacob made a hell of a play getting that puck to Goodrow to get it to Trocheck, back to Goodrow. And that's the kind of play it's going to take to beat the Florida Panthers. That they're going to be so aggressive that the defense has got to be able to handle that pressure and the physicality that they are throwing at them, and to stop from making stupid mistakes. And the stupid mistakes are what killing the Rangers, because I think, they're a little bit jumpy because they know they're going to get hit. Somebody's going to be in their face as soon as the puck gets on their stick. So hopefully they've learned their lesson, and hopefully tonight they'll play a little bit more of a simpler game. But there's 2 different ways of playing right now. The Panthers are pushing. They're just forechecking like madmen. I've between them and the Carolina Hurricanes, I wish my team would play like that.
Yeah.
Our team wants to possess the puck. Our team wants to make those long passes. Our team has had breakaways. We've gotten behind their defense. And Bobrovsky has made some nice saves as well, but Igor has outplayed their goalie. That's the number one key in this whole thing. Igor has made probably in 3 games already 16 to 20 grade A saves to keep the puck out of the net.
Yeah, and that really changed from in games 2 and 3, because after game 1, the talk was, man, Bobrovsky was great. Him and Shesterkin could be on the same plane. No, and we actually came in after that and said, just because Bobrovsky was really good in game 1, the Rangers still have a massive advantage when it comes to the goaltender. So, yeah, he's going to have to continue to be this great, and there's no reason to believe why he wouldn't. But, I mean, the Rangers have had goalies bailing them out, their own goalies bailing them out the entire year, whether it was that stretch with Jonathan Quick or Shesterkin now in the postseason.
Even in the Messier guarantee game over New Jersey, that game 6, Mike Richter was insane in that game, and he outplayed Brodeur. But just think of the third period alone. Florida had 41 shot attempts. Now, that's 41 shots towards the net. That doesn't mean that they hit the net or they hit the goalie, but 41 shots towards the net. And a lot of those shots, they're trying to get deflections. The Barkov goal from Verhaeghe was just that. It was a shot in front of the net, and it goes off of Barkov, and it goes into the net. Even though Barkov is there and a Ranger defenseman is right there with him, or maybe it was Trocheck. I forget which guy was with him, but it was just, it's one of those shots that they always throw at that, and Carolina plays that way too. And the Rangers had 11 shot attempts compared to 41. And in the entire game, it was 108 to like 48. And then when you count the shots on net, it was 37. And I want to say it was like to 24. So the Rangers were being outplayed, but somehow Igor keeps them in the game. Somehow the team comes back together in overtime, and Lindgren makes a great shot. He gets it right to the net, and Wenberg's standing there by himself. And that's a mistake by the Florida defense.
I still expect this series to go 7. Of course, I believe the Rangers have the advantage with the home ice, and I think that in that game 7, it's going to be just nuts there in the Garden. I'd be surprised if Florida ended up losing this game and going down 3-1 with how well they have played. But things have broken the Rangers' way through the entire postseason. But this is a 7-game series.
I would also say that sooner or later, the Ranger power play has got to show up.
Yeah.
And I will also say about this Trouba hit, the one thing that made me think of is, like, Florida has a unique way of forcing penalties by the opposing team. And I'm not saying that they're embellishing, and I'm not saying that was an embellishment by Rodriguez, but they know how to position their body in order to get a penalty called against their opposition. And it's smart hockey. It's exactly what you should be doing in games like this. Some people would say flopping. My thing is you want to get a power play any way you can, and this power play has got to get on track. And they got to understand that they're not going to let Mika and Panarin do their thing. They're just not going to let them do it. They're just going to always make sure that there's somebody in their lane. So the other 3 guys, Fox, Kreider, and Trocheck, are going to have to do something. Or they're going to have to figure out how to get Lafreniere more ice time, because he is playing great. And because he's not on the power play that much, he's on the second power play group, and he's not on penalty kill, his ice time is minimum. So you'd love to see him get 18 to 20 minutes with the way that he's playing, but I don't know where you're going to find that ice time.
Game 4 tonight, 8 p.m., Rangers and Panthers. The Rangers are 2 wins away from going to a Cup final. It's Boomer and Gio just getting started on this Tuesday morning on the Fan and CBS Sports Network.